Voltaire said, "Judge a man by his questions and not by his answers." Today I have a few questions just to get to know me. First question is, what would your mother say about you? Second question I have is, what was the weirdest food you've ever eaten? The third question I have is, what is your next major life event? My first question, what would your mother say about you? My mom, she was such a big inspiration in my life. She taught me to discover the world, learn about nature. I was a really curious kid and caused a lot of trouble for her. I worried her a lot, especially as I was a wanderer, looking around and exploring different paths in nature and climbing through the clothing racks in department stores, acting like a curious George. I was always looking around, wondering what is there around the next bin? What is the next path that I could look around and just find, what could I find around the next bin? I was just a natural born explorer, just curious about the world. My next question is, what is the weirdest food I've ever eaten? So I want to start off with a quote. Cantonese will eat anything in the sky but airplanes, anything in the sea but submarines, and anything with 4 legs but the table. So my wife is Chinese. She's a really hardworking and diligent person. She's taught me a lot in life. And we've shared a lot of experiences together. I've enjoyed learning some new recipes from her, and we've eaten some interesting things. There's a thing called hot pot that we eat with friends, both American and Chinese. It's a stew that you simmer the broth and you dip in like these leafy greens, sliced meats, things like lotus root, and just fermented eggs and all these different kind of things. It's like a smorgasbord of different foods, and it goes on for hours, normally with drinking beer and other things like that. So I gotta say, the weirdest food I've ever eaten is lotus root. When I watched this documentary on where lotus root actually comes from, it comes from these dried out lakes in western China, and they get in the guys that harvest it, they get in these waders and they go dig through the muck and they clean it off, and it's like this. It tastes sort of like a carrot, but it doesn't have the same flavor. It takes on the flavor of the broth, and it's crunchy. It looks kind of like a pinwheel, and that's what I have to say is the weirdest food I've ever eaten. I just want to encourage you to try out new ethnic foods, open your taste buds, and I've found that great flavors exist all over the world. My third question is, what is your next major life-changing moment? So last summer I was married to my wife in a castle in Lawrence, and at the wedding we were fortunate her parents were over here, and so I had made a promise to her dad that we'd get married in China. And next spring we've been planning to have a wedding there for her whole family, and it's going to be a totally new experience. I've never been to Asia. I've never been really outside of North America, and the Chinese weddings are really large. They're normally like 300 people or more often, so that's going to be an interesting experience. Our wedding was just 100 people approximately. So my wife has impressed travel upon me. She's traveled all across America, all across Asia, and I just want to leave you with a quote for today. The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page. Thank you.